Many times, as a Big Feet member, people ask us why we joined Feet to Feet or what has impacted us to make the decision to be drug and alcohol free. So now we'll kind of listen to two individuals and why they chose it.
We always say that it won't happen to us. And as teenagers, our brains are programmed to think that we're invincible. I had a friend, Chris, who was only 16. At a young age, his parents abandoned both him and his brother, which caused him to begin to using drugs. All of us kids knew that he did it. We would always try and get him to stop, but he always said it was just something to do, that he wasn't really addicted. As time passed, he continued to get worse and started to be more dependent on them. After it continued going on for a while, we would still continually try to stop him. And he didn't really think it was an issue because what the drugs do is they control you. They controlled him to the point of jumping off the bridge and killing himself. And you guys are probably sitting there saying that it won't happen to you. But I believe that if Chris were here today, he would tell you guys not to smoke that first cigarette or to buy that blunt because it's not worth it and you never know what could happen.
When I first came to Webb, and I heard about the Feet to Feet program, I joined it, I started going to the meetings, I went to the lunch programs, I went to all of that. A lot of people asked me why I spent my time doing that and talking to the kids instead of eating and spending time with my friends. Well, there are lots of reasons to that, but you can ask me about those. But one that happened kind of recently that reminded me why I'm in the program was over the summer, my mother had back surgery. And the entire time afterward, she was heavily medicated in the hospital, and the nurse kept bringing her out pill after pill every about 30 minutes or so. And during this time, she finally fell asleep, so the nurse stopped coming, and the machine next to her started blinking with a C2. And so we called the nurse, we hit the emergency button. They never showed up, so we didn't think it was anything critical. About 40 minutes later, her morphine pump ran out. And this time when we called them, they came in right away. So this time when they finally came in, she opened the curtains because my mother was sleeping, and she was just a deep, bad blue color. And when so she started shaking her, just yelling, "Glory, glory," hitting her on the chest with two knuckles, just trying to get some kind of response. She wasn't waking up, and they kept rushing nurses in. About 15 showed up, and they all had machines and everything like that. So they got a security guard to escort me, my dad, and my sister all out of the room. And so we had no idea what was going on. I thought I just watched my mom die before my eyes and done nothing to help her. And I couldn't do anything about it. And they kept us outside for 30 minutes or so when all we could see was inside was lots of nurses and just yelling, "Come back to us, Lord, come back to us." And we had no idea what happened. Apparently, the machine that was blinking earlier helped her with breathing. Because of all the pills the nurse had given her and the morphine mixed with that, it caused her body to just kind of shut down and she couldn't breathe very well. And after about 30 minutes of just sitting outside saying, "I just watched my mother die," they finally told her that she was barely breathing again. And it was terrifying that something like this could happen in a controlled environment like a hospital. And then just knowing people do this outside the hospital, self-medicate themselves and give themselves these kind of things. They could be doing this to themselves and they have no way of knowing. It's just terrifying to know that, and that's why I try to talk to people about this. And that's one of the reasons I joined